Hello everyone. If you didn't know, the Five Nights at Freddy's 10-year anniversary was about a month ago, and I want to do a video recapping everything in it, and giving my thoughts on all of it, and just giving a general ranking of everything that was a part of the 10-year anniversary. I would have done this a lot closer to the anniversary, but it takes me forever to make these videos, so it's happening now. Starting with myPOPGOES, the full version. I really enjoyed myPOPGOES, the base gameplay, like what I played in the demo. I really enjoyed the main gameplay of it. I think it's fun, little side game, nothing to really dislike about it. I really enjoyed it, and I was really excited to see what the full version would have to offer. So what was part of the full version of myPOPGOES? Well, there were basically two big things. One of those were the challenges. Now, the challenges are cool, I like them, but I'm not really going to be playing them, mainly because it's just that's outside of my skill range. It's just purely a skill issue, but for me, I only really enjoy doing challenges if I feel like I can reasonably beat them, and I don't even get close to those. Like, I really struggled to beat Day 5. So the idea of having challenges that make Day 5 way harder doesn't appeal to me. That goes past the point of a fun difficulty. But that's, like, just me. I feel like the challenges are a good thing to be in the game and should be there. It's just, for me personally, doesn't really appeal to me very much. Not my thing. And the other thing that was there were the minigames. Fun little things, but they didn't really have all that much value in my opinion. Not saying they were bad, they just, weren't anything too crazy. Just a little side thing. And those minigames, I'm pretty sure I didn't beat them on stream, but I beat them off stream. So I did go back and beat them, so they weren't that bad. I willingly played through them again. They were alright, and that's kind of just how I feel about myPOPGOES. The full version of myPOPGOES, the new content it has, didn't really leave a big impact on me. It wasn't bad by any means, so if I had to rank this on a tier list, this can't go any lower than a C tier, because any D tier would imply it was bad, right? I don't think anything in myPOPGOES was bad, but I don't think any of it was enjoyable enough for me personally to put it above a C tier either. So I think myPOPGOES goes into a flat C tier. I think that's the most fair place to put it. So moving on, number 2, the Joy of Creation, the demo. I went in with the Joy of Creation with really high expectations. I mean, I kind of pulled them back a little bit for the demo because, the demo couldn't have been that crazy, right? It's just a one-night thing. And then it was. The Joy of Creation was absolutely insane. It was very impressive. Everything I could say about it is very, very positive. It was really fun. The style was really good, the atmosphere was top-notch, and the story, we didn't get a good look at it really, because it was just a one-night thing, but from the small glimpse that was there, it looked like it was going in an interesting direction. So, it definitely hooked me. To say it's hooked me would be an understatement. Joy of Creation, I had high expectations, and it blew those expectations out of the water. Easy A tier. So the third thing I'm going to be ranking, Five Nights at Freddy's VIP. That is the first interactive novel, or I guess the 0th interactive novel. It depends how you rank it. I'm going to be totally honest. I didn't really enjoy it. I know other people did. Not for me. I didn't really like it. I didn't find the minigame, the gameplay section very fun. The whole, the main bulk of the story where we went through the 3 different areas. I didn't really find any of those sections all that enjoyable. They were alright, but they didn't really hook me. And the story, it was okay. I didn't really have any gripes with the main story as a whole, like the concept of the story. But my problem is with the execution. Now, there are a couple places in this story where you would start at one place, and then you'd go 2 branching paths. And when you took those branching paths, they both lead to the same place. Now, that inherently isn't a bad thing. Giving the player a slight little choice, even if it doesn't impact the larger story, little choices are still nice to have. The problem is that when VIP did it, that end position referenced one of the paths. That's a problem, because that means if you take, for example, let's say you take path A, then it will be perfectly fine. Good. Enjoyable. But if you take path B, then it will still reference path A, even though you never did path A, which made the story completely incomprehensible. And it did that multiple times, and it really took me out. So because of that, I'm gonna be completely honest, wasn't really a fan reading it. I think it really could have been better executed. And I'm also gonna say, on a lore perspective, it brought basically nothing to the table. At least as far as I could tell, it didn't really do much for the lore, so I can't really talk much about that. But overall, Five Nights at Freddy's VIP is going in D tier. I didn't like it. So at number 4, we're going with the second Scott Cawthon interview. Now, there's only so much I expected from an interview. I mean, you don't really go into an interview with crazy expectations, right? What I didn't expect is how much Scott would talk about on very specific subjects. So he not only elaborated on what went on, like we already knew like a few reasons why security breach turned out the way it did, but Scott really elaborated on it and also owned up that he made a big mistake with it too, which is really good to hear. Like when Scott says it acknowledges the mistakes that he made, that means he's not going to make them again. He's learned from security breach, and that is, just knowing that is really good to hear. And then there's a few other things that were really crazy too, like he revealed what's in the box. I mean, what was in the box was a dropped plot point, but it was still nice to know. And then on top of that, Scott didn't announce 1, but 2 games. He announced that Into the Pit would have a sequel based off Fetch, which is really cool and exciting. I'm excited for that, especially after seeing Into the Pit, but I'll get to that when I get to it. But also, he announced that SteelWoolStudios are not just working on what they're about to announce, but also are working on a much larger project later down the line. Overall, I was really happy with the second Scott Cawthon interview. Definitely A tier. I don't think I could have asked for anything more from an interview. So up at the 5th thing, we got the Collab announcement. Now, the lead up to the Collab announcement was really funny, because Scott basically baited the fanbase and think it was about merch, because he had a bunch of merch announcements lined up. And then the bombshell hit. Five Nights at Freddy's is coming to Dead by Daylight. Absolutely incredible. Now personally, I don't play Dead by Daylight. I bought it, and I didn't really enjoy it. It's not my type of game, but even if it isn't my type of game, I still got to acknowledge that Five Nights at Freddy's coming to Dead by Daylight. That's like the best possible scenario for the collab announcement. Like that is absolutely the coolest thing Five Nights at Freddy's could have collaborated with. I think it deserves an A tier. It doesn't deserve to be any lower. So the 6th thing that came to the anniversary, SteelWoolStudios announcement, and I live reacted to this one. We're getting Mimiclaw in the games! It was crazy. I'll repeat this again. From the Scott Cawthon interview, he made it sound like that SteelWoolStudios is working on a bigger project later, and that what they were about to announce was going to be something smaller comparatively. And then we got the announcement for Secret of the Mimic, which was absolutely insane. Now, this video is being made late, so we have a lot more information than we did back then. But even with back at the teaser, because I'm only going to be ranking this based off the initial information we got, and there was quite a lot jammed into that. It's such a small teaser, but it was so exciting. It was crazy at the time, and there's definitely a lot of theorizing came from it. Easy A tier. I will cover Secret of the Mimic in another video later. Now, the 7th thing, the 5 Laps at Freddy's demo. It wasn't ready. To be completely honest, it was not ready for the 10-year anniversary. There was 3 tracks. One of them is perfectly fine, one of them is buggy, and the other one was borderline unplayable. I'm fine with the concept, and I'm optimistic on where it will go looking forward. It's a fun side thing that didn't release in a very good state for the anniversary. So yeah, I'm gonna put this in C tier. But again, looking forward to see where it goes later. Finally, at 8, Five Nights at Freddy's Into the Pit. Now, my ranking of Five Nights at Freddy's Into the Pit is probably the only good thing of me waiting this long to make the video. My thoughts on Into the Pit. When I first played it on stream, if you saw my live streams on it, you would know that I didn't really enjoy it. It wasn't my type of game. I didn't find it very fun in my initial playthrough. In fact, I stopped playing partway through to watch someone else play it, because I didn't want to play it. Now, I want to make it clear that once I watched Storko play it, I then went back and beat it myself off stream, and when you know what you're doing in Into the Pit, the gameplay is actually rather fun. Like, I'm gonna be totally honest, the big struggle for me was, I think there was a lot of sections in Into the Pit where I got really confused on what to do. The rat's a good example, this is a really memorable example for me, was like, oh, you gotta unleash the rat in Jeff's Pizza, and I thought, okay, you probably gotta put that in the kitchen or something. Or maybe where you first found it. You know, you gotta put it somewhere to make it look like there's rats in the place. What I didn't expect is to go up to a woman and pull out the rat in front of her face. Like, ma'am, if my goal there was to make her think there are rats in the pizzeria, me whipping out my own rat should not have worked for that. That woman should have looked at me and thought, you're a twat, not there's rats in the pizzeria. So for me, things like that were very unintuitive, and I felt like the entire game was like that. Almost the entire game felt to me like, oh, here's a thing that makes a lot of sense, you have to do something very arbitrary with it that doesn't make sense. Like another really good example is a sticky hand. The little sticky hand is apparently long enough to reach up to the vent and strong enough to pull a vent down. Why would I assume that? And the mission objective is just find a key, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, just overall, I felt like Into the Pit was filled with a lot of things that felt very unintuitive to me. And so because of that, I didn't enjoy it. But once you get past that, when I watched the video and figured out exactly what I need to do so I don't need to worry about deciphering what the game actually wants me to do, once I get past that, the stealth gameplay, the main gameplay of Into the Pit, was really fun. Like, I actually really enjoyed it. And I'm going to be totally honest, aside from my own, that one gripe I had where things didn't really feel intuitive, the game in basically every aspect was just simply peak. Like, the atmosphere, top-notch. The story, top-notch. The gameplay was really, really fun. The lore was a bit frustrating, but that's just 5 Nights at Freddy's lore, right? Can't hold that to Into the Pit. That's just the entire series lore. It's always a little bit frustrating. But it was still, it provided a lot of lore though. It gave a lot to think about, and I like that. Overall, I really enjoyed Into the Pit, despite my original issues with the game where it made it look like I didn't really enjoy it because I didn't in my initial playthrough. In retrospect, I really like Into the Pit. It was an amazing entry to the series, and I don't think it deserves any less than A tier. It's peak. Let's leave it at that. The ninth thing, the final thing on this list, Five Freddy's 2 movie news. Now, I had low expectations, and it was exactly what I expected. I thought, this is too early in the movie's lifespan to get anything crazy. At best, we see the animatronic designs. And yeah, that's what we got. We got to see work-in-progress shots of all the animatronics. But there was a little extra, because at the very day of the anniversary, we got a page from the Five Freddy's movie script. The Five Freddy's 2 movie script. And 3 fake pages of the Five Freddy's 2 movie script. Love it. Now, I'm going to be totally honest. When reading all the scripts, none of them really stood out to me as something crazy. So again, the movie news, in my opinion, wasn't all that crazy, but it was still cool. I was all happy with it. Do I think it deserves a solid B tier? And with that, that's all of my thoughts on the Five Freddy's 10th anniversary week. I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Tell me what your rankings of everything here were. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me on a lot of these? I'm very curious what my most controversial takes here were. See you next time.